Hello. EasyRec is a real-time, highly flexible reconciliation software, but sometimes you need to quickly reconcile data. And today I'm going to present you the new Quick Compare menu introduced in EasyRec. So imagine you have two CSV files that you want to compare. So without going into EasyRec default or standard configuration, I'm going to use the Quick Compare menu. So I'm going to select two CSV files. And as you can see, you have the ability to select CSV options. So I'm just going to take this additional option, which is auto-detect column types. So if you have numeric columns or date columns, it will be automatically detected and converted. So I have now my data1.csv, my data2.csv file has been automatically loaded, but at this stage, I have no reconciliation key. So if I click on statistics, I have a 0 match because I have no reconciliation key, and by default, the order might not be guaranteed. So what I can do is that I can click on the auto detect keys. In this example, the header in my source CSV match perfectly the header of the target CSV. That might not always be the case, but in this example, it is the case. I would do another example right after this sample where it's not the case. So what I can do is that I will compute some statistics, and I will also ask the system to suggest what are the key columns and what are the columns I should ignore. This is computed based on the threshold that I'm free to update in real time. So based on this threshold, it's saying that MEG ID is potentially the best candidate to be a key column, but also M and B should be ignored because the coverage is 0%, which means that none of the values included in the source file exist into the target file. So if you don't ignore this column, you will have 100% unmatch. So I validate the suggestion, and I click on OK. And now my breaks is now up to 90%. And you are now free to continue the analysis and to fine tune the results. So let's do this very, very quickly. Here I have dates in the source, dates in the target. It was automatically converted. And the system is saying that I have a delta of 1 day difference between the two. Imagine you accept this difference, saying that 1 day is completely acceptable. What you can do is create a tolerance on the fly, say 1 day tolerance between the two. It has automatically disappeared. What we could also do is that for this second column, which is counterparty, I have source label, which is Lehman, and target value, which is default Lehman. Actually, you could say that this is exactly the same customer, but with a different naming convention between source and target systems. So if you want to validate or to say that this is not a break, actually, what you can do, either you click on the value in the source or multiple value in the source, or do the same single value or multiple value in the target, and then create comments on the fly. Or what you can do is filter from the break panel. So this, maybe it's even easier. Select all breaks related to this specific break, Lehman versus default Lehman, and then I would like to create comments either in the source or in the targets. It's up to you. So I create comments on the target saying this is a mapping issue. Category, I will say it's static data. I will assign it to Mike, and I will say it's middle office. Okay. If I create this user command, it will still be viewed as a break. But if I click here, force break to match, it has completely disappeared because there are user commands assigned to each fields, but also knowing that this force match checkbox is ticked, it is now displayed as a match. But if you go on the statistics, what is interesting is that we have another category which is force match, which means that you cannot fake the results. So if you force some fields to match, it will be reported as force match. So we'll have still to explain why you force some breaks to match. Okay, and this is it. With a minimum amount of time, we are able to reconcile some files. Let's do the same example with completely different files. So for that, I use ChatGPT to randomly generate two files that are potentially good candidates to perform reconciliation. Okay, so based on my criteria, ChatGPT has generated some files. So what I can do, quick compare the same CSV file, and I'm going to use the downloaded files. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing, auto-detect column types, and compare. So in a minimum amount of time, as you can see, less than 1 second, I was able to parse, to read, load two files. So it was extremely fast. But now the challenge is that column names are different, which means that none of the columns from the source match the columns on the target. As you can see, vendor, client name, which is dealer, customer name, etc. So what I can do is I will edit the template wizards. I click on key columns here, which is exactly the same menu than this one. And I'm not able to compute statistics because none of the value match. So what I can do is go on tools, evaluate column correspondence. This will compute some statistics on the content of the columns, a lot of KPIs, will compute a score, and based on the score, will suggest the mapping between source column and target column. And the system is suggesting an alternative SQL query to extract the data, but to keep the same titles than you have in the source value. So I'll copy this query. I will not challenge it. I remove the target query and I paste by the new query provided by the system. I click again on key columns, and now you match perfectly because the columns has been renamed automatically by the system, finding the best candidates for the correspondence between the two. So now when we will evaluate statistics again, and click on highlight suggested key and highlight column that should ignore. I will increase a little bit the threshold. And with this threshold, the system is suggesting that transaction ID is a good candidate, but as well customer name. So from what I see here, transaction ID has a greater number of distinct value than this one, so it's more precise. So I will keep only transaction ID. Save and close. Yes. And now all the columns from the source match exactly the columns from the target. And if I click on statistics, I do match 92%, and I have some breaks, 7% related to two columns, final price, horsepower. And you have summary of the breaks here, so you can filter by types. And if the column is a numeric, then the column will be automatically available in the pivot field, and then you can compute some statistic with the user-defined breakdowns. So that's it. At this stage, you can, if needed, generate the report, and then you produce a CSV file, CSV report that you can distribute with other people. Thank you. That was it.